Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Daniel G. Garza, and I come to you live from the Cobblestone Park on Main Beach here in Laguna Beach. It is December 1st, 2022, World AIDS Day. It's a brisk, about 60 degrees here in Laguna Beach, and I'm coming to you live. This is probably, I think, my fourth or fifth year coming to you live from the Main Beach. This is the event today. Let me put the banners up so you guys can see that. It's Our Planet, Our Health, brought to you by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee. So I'd like for you to join me tonight for the next couple of hours as we have some interviews, some chats, some information about HIV and AIDS. I will be talking to some members of the committee, doctors, some of the nurses, directors from the hospital, the clinic. So we'll be talking about HIV today. We'll also be answering some of your questions. So if you are watching and you have comments or questions regarding HIV and AIDS, please put them up, and I'll make sure that we answer them for you. Be part of the conversation. Also, after at the 4 o'clock hour, at the second hour of the show, my co-host Robert Nieto will be taking over and controlling the cameras while we do the reading of the names. So if you're watching and you have somebody that you would like to include, I don't know if you can see it, but back there is one of the little trees with the names. These are the hearts. So what we do is we put some, if you want to put somebody's name on, we will do that for you. So make sure you give us the names in the comment section, and I'll make sure to post. I'll make sure that we write the names of the person that you want to remember, and we'll put them on there. And we'll also include them in the list of names that will be read in the second hour. Again, my name is Daniel G. Garza. I'll be your host for the first hour. Well, we have some interviews and some comments and some information about HIV and AIDS. It is December 1st, World AIDS Day, and it's something that's celebrated worldwide. Let me grab my tablet so I can give you some information before we start bringing some of our guests over. In case you didn't know, World AIDS Day takes place on December 1st of every year. It's an opportunity for people worldwide to unite in the fight against HIV, to show support for people living with HIV, and to commemorate those who have died from AIDS-related illnesses. It was founded in 1988, and AIDS Day was the first ever Global Health Day. And for those of you watching, if you miss any part of it, if you need to go, this will be up on whatever channel you're watching on. You can come back and watch it later, so make sure you come and join us again. As of 2020, AIDS has killed approximately 36.3 million people worldwide. It's estimated that 37.7 million people live with HIV at the moment, which is making it one of the most important global public health issues in recorded history. Some people would argue that COVID might have taken more people, but no. Actually, AIDS has taken more lives than COVID up to the moment. It's estimated that 38 million people live with the virus, despite the virus only being identified in 1984. More than 35 million people have died of HIV. Pretty much, it's basically AIDS-related illnesses, making it one of the most destructive pandemics in history. Today, scientific advances make it that there's HIV treatment available. There are laws to protect people living with HIV, and we understand so much more about the condition. But let me say that even though HIV has been decriminalized, there are still places where you can go to jail for being HIV positive and not disclosing. There are still places that can discriminate at jobs, housing. So even though we've come a long way, there are still more to do, particularly because since it is World AIDS Day, I get the opportunity through my page, HIV Positive Life, to talk to people from around the world where their treatment is not available, where some folks have to walk to receive treatment, and sometimes it takes them half a day to get there. And then if you get there late for your appointment, you have to come back the next day. So some folks just can't do it. Even in the United States, there are people that still are not, don't have treatment because they're in rural areas, and getting medication getting to the doctor is difficult. The pandemic definitely, COVID made it more difficult for a lot of people, and it brought to light a lot of things that were wrong in our system. So we're going to talk about this a little bit too. Um, why is World AIDS Day important? Good question. Just as anybody, in case anybody was asking, it's important because it reminds the public and the government that HIV has not gone away. There is still a vital There's still a vital need to raise money, increase awareness, fight prejudice, and improve education. If you want more information, go to worldaidsday.org. As you can see behind me, I'm going to move over here. There is the table, the banner. There's some guests that are here joining us today. Sandy St. John here from local. And we have somebody from local government that wants to talk to us. So I'm going to get Sandy to get who's going to talk to us. How you doing, sir? Can I ask you a question before you leave? Okay, got it. Excellent. Thank you. We'll talk to you. Thank you for being here. We're gonna get right off the bat. We're gonna get the.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
How are you?
Hi, Mama.
I'm fine, sweetheart.
You were gonna be my first guest, so
Oh, actually, I was going to ask if it'd be okay if we could have one of our nurses
yes.
interview her because she's really on the front lines and she sees patients all the time. And so I think it's important that we get her on camera.
Hi.
On camera.
Come on
Okay,
over, and then we'll talk to you next.
I'm here.
Excellent.
whenever you need.
So for those of you
Everybody.
just joining us, we're at the Cobblestone Park on Main Beach here in Laguna Beach. It is World AIDS Day, and this event is Our Planet, Our Health, brought to you by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee. And Laguna Beach Community Clinic is where I go for services, and we have one of the nurses from the clinic. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Can you introduce yourself to everybody and your title and what you do?
My name's Nicole Seacott. I am the charge nurse at the clinic. I've been there 16 and a half
60
years.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful place.
So you were already there when I started going, because I've been going for I went about 13 years the first time.
Uh-huh.
So you were already there when I started going.
July of 2006 is when I started.
Yeah, I moved here in 2009. So you've been here longer than I have.
Sorry.
No, that's awesome. Let's start from the start. Why did you decide to be a nurse?
I was a sick child. So I was in and out of the hospital the first 9 months of my life. And then I was out of that I wasn't a sick toddler or anything. And when I was in high school, I had a girlfriend who got me into candy striping at Mission, back when Mission was tiny.
Gotcha.
And I loved it. I fell in love with it. I raked up a ton of hours, and then I decided that's what I wanted to do. And I've been doing it since I was 14.
Wow, that's what. Thank you.
It's crazy.
Being a person that's been in a hospital several times,
Yeah.
I understand the hard work
Yeah.
that nurses do.
Yeah.
Now, Laguna Beach Community Clinic is not specifically HIV. It's a community clinic.
We see all kinds of illnesses, child checks, physicals. We do all kinds of stuff, all kinds of good work.
And because of working there, because I know that I go there, a lot of my friends go there,
Right.
and a lot of people who receive HIV services.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What have you seen in the years that you've been a nurse, and where are we now?
When I started, Dr. Jorgensen
Yes.
was our champion, and Dr. No saw lots of HIV patients too. It was amazing, just the volume. It was not something I saw in the hospital so much. I saw a couple patients in the hospital, but not as an outpatient. So I didn't see them on a regular basis. It was so awesome to get to know these people. I mean, all walks of life, men, women, young, old, dealing with HIV, AIDS, having to go, deal with normal stuff, birth control, and, just regular stuff. I need a vaccine, and it's just, they've got this other whole life going on, and they're managing so beautifully,
Because I'm imagining that you've seen what we talk about now so much, where before it was about just allowing to live their last years,
Right.
where now
Right.
it's about surviving, because we're all living longer. I mean, I've been positive 22 years, and
Right.
dying of AIDS complications doesn't cross my mind on a regular basis.
No, because it hardly ever happens anymore.
Yeah.
they're dying of old age now. It's awesome. I mean, I've got these older patients in their 70s now, taking their meds, coming in every 3 months, getting their labs drawn, getting their meds refilled, and being happy and
Yeah.
living. And it's not like how it was in the 80s where they're just like dying.
Just comforting them
They
in the
come in
end.
once and they're like, it's already been,
Yeah.
untreated for so long that there's nothing we can do. Now they're like flourishing. It's almost it's surreal sometimes to see how well these patients do.
Yeah. Tell the folks, if you don't mind, a little bit. We're still rather in the pandemic of COVID,
Mhm.
but you guys worked through the whole thing.
We were
How-
open the whole time.
What was that experience like for you?
It was really scary.
Yeah.
I mean, because when you leave the clinic, nobody wears a mask. You go home. I live in a beach town like this. Nobody was wearing a mask. They were still out partying, coughing, and it's not going to happen to me is
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
what it was. The mentality, the attitude. And, for my husband, who is not in the medical field, he didn't understand, and I'm like, I see COVID, I live COVID all day, every day.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's scary, and it's not over, and for my diabetic patients, for my HIV patients, it's a very real danger.
Exactly.
Those patients can't afford to get COVID.
Yeah, I know that I was paranoid of, but then when I was called to go back to work, and you got to pay the bills somehow,
Right.
and when unemployment was over,
Right.
you're like, what do I do? So the stress, but again, no stress about HIV. It was more stress about COVID.
Right.
And that. How are you coping now that we're starting to come out of it a little bit?
I'm still cautious.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still scared because my kids don't have to wear masks in the classroom now,
Yeah.
and they're coming home with flu. And so it's not just my patients I worry about, it's my own kids,
Yeah.
It's and people, when I'm COVID screening every patient that walks into my door at the clinic, and they're like, why?
Right, yeah.
Why do I have to wear a mask in the clinic?
Yeah.
Because you don't know who's sick inside the clinic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always tell them, it's not stamped on their forehead, I have COVID.
Right.
I had the flu.
It'd be nice if we had an indicator that said,
Right.
I've got the flu today, or
Right.
I'm depressed or something.
Right,
But
right.
no, we don't come with those.
And then they walk into, so I give them a mask, and then they walk into the clinic and they hear people coughing. And then they're like, okay, I get it now. I get it.
Before you let you go, we usually send messages to people living with HIV or survivors or caregivers, but I would like for you to send a message to all the young nurses out there that are thinking or considering to go into HIV field. What would you tell them? Yeah.
It's not like it used to be. It is getting patients to really think about how they want to live their lives and how much easier the treatments are and how much they are to adhere to, take every day. They're usually once a day, and to keep up with the treatment and not give up. It's not a death sentence. It's a livable condition. I don't even like to call it a disease.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that anymore. Yeah.
It's not the stigma it once was. It's just something you're going to have to live with every day. And it's a doable thing.
Well, if you're thinking about going into nursing, or you are in nursing and you're thinking about community clinics for HIV, here's a great example. She is awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do.
You're welcome.
So thank you for talking to me.
Yeah.
Enjoy the evening. Thank you. For those of you watching us, I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is Our Planet, Our Health, brought to you by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee here in Laguna Beach. We're at the Cobblestone. If you're in the area, come over. Come join us. At 4 o'clock, we'll start the reading of the names, and I will switch over to my co-host, Robert Nieto, who will take over for me. We're going to interview more people. We're going to talk to more people. We got one of my favorite people here. How you doing, man?
Hi, sweetheart.
Good to
How
see
are
you. Tell folks who you are and your title. what you do.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Adriana Nieto Sayaj, the clinic director, COO of Laguna Beach Community Clinic, and I am honored to also be the chair of the city's HIV committee. And I have to fill, I say this every year because it's so true. I have big shoes to fill. As you all probably know, and if you don't know, I'm going to tell you now, this fine young gentleman, handsome too, bilingual, who takes the time and energy to do this, and we certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
What has been past president, and so therefore you can see why I have big shoes to fill.
She does say that every year, and I giggle.
True.
But I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to be like, yes, I'll own it. So for those of you, she is the chair of the committee. This is the event that they put on every year. We do this every year. Um, why are you continuing? I mean, you already do enough working in the clinic, but then you go and chair the committee. Why? Why do you put more effort into it?
Well, I'm very passionate about HIV. I think it's truly important that we continue to raise awareness. I mean, HIV now, people no longer die, thank goodness. But we really need to get to that zero. As you know, it's an epidemic and it continues to be an epidemic. Um, all these people need to be tested. We need to make it a routine exam. We need to make sure that it's no longer a stigma. And we need to, if anything we've learned from the pandemic is that HIV is very similar to what people were experiencing, the fear, the isolation, the not knowing what's going to happen. And I think the hardest thing is to have any kind of illness and be left alone and feel like you're alone. And I believe that the city's HIV committee is committed to sharing awareness, educating ourselves because it's a constant learning curve for everybody. We're constantly learning about new methods, new medications out there now, both oral and injectable. It's so important that we can live healthy lives. HIV is no longer a death sentence. However, it's very important that people are not afraid to get tested, and reaching out to the youth, reaching out to our elderly, it's so important. That should be just a normal conversation with your doctor. I'd like to get an HIV test, please.
Yeah, because even though people are not dying like they used to from AIDS complications, people are still getting infected,
Yes.
and it's still out there. What is, because we were just talking to Nicole about how things have changed nowadays. What is the biggest challenge that a person with HIV can have?
I think the biggest challenge, if you already have HIV, is staying adherent. Even though we have new medications, antivirals, we have now the injectable. I think in the world we're living, we're so busy. And everyone wants a little bit of us, whether it's work and family, that we sometimes neglect our own health. And I think it's very important that we really make a conscious effort, maybe a New Year's resolution to take care of our health. Because if we're healthy, then the people around us are healthy. And then if we're healthy and we can go ahead and by show of hands, show a good behavior as far as getting tested or being open communication about HIV status, what's your status, going into a new relationship, and showing them, having that open conversation, we will decrease the numbers of newly infected, which unfortunately is still high in the United States.
Before you, where did you go? Because we are Latinos, and we see a group of number of Latin people coming into the clinic. What is something that is still that we still need to tell the Latin community about HIV/AIDS? ¿Qué les decimos? What should we tell them?
I think first of all es háganse la prueba, por favor, háganse la prueba, no tengan miedo. Am, es una enfermedad como cualquier otra enfermedad y ya no tenemos que darnos vergüenza, no es un mal de ojo, no es una cosa horrible, es una enfermedad y tenemos que ser respetuosos de todos, de todo lo que nos gusta y no nos gusta y querernos más. Y comienza contigo primero. Hazte la prueba, por favor. Es gratis. Don't even have to pay for it. Hazte la prueba.
The stigma, the shame, and the silence in the Latin community is still huge. So if you know somebody who's Latin, who is an immigrant, whether they're documented or not, monolingual, or they speak, tell them, get tested. It's free. We can still live a healthy life. I mean, I'm here, so we're gonna have to grab lunch after this. And
Absolutely.
thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much, sweetheart.
I love you. Thank you so
Love
much.
you guys. Thank you for being there. Spread the news. If there's anything that you hear today, constantly, the constant theme is please get tested. Tests are free. And as long as you're getting tested for HIV, get tested for everything. STDs, get tested for everything. There is a cure if we catch it early. Okay. Take
So
care, everybody.
come check
Stay
them out.
Stay healthy.
Laguna Beach Community Clinic here in Laguna Beach. And then the meetings for the committee is every second Thursday of the month, correct?
The meetings is actually the first Thursday
The
of the
first
month.
Thursday of the month. Sorry,
Yeah,
first.
was that a test? I think that was a test. We actually meet the first Thursday of the month. Everybody's welcome. After 2 consecutive participations, you are a member. And, it's really about communication, about spreading the word, about learning. So you take home education. And then it's also about community involvement. What can we do to make our community better?
It takes a
Engage
community.
them.
Takes a
Yes.
community. Thank you so much, Mama.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you
Bye-bye. Love
later.
you, honey. Thank you. I'm going to send you somebody else.
Sis, please. So reminding you, my name is Daniel G. Garza, and you're watching Our Planet, Our Health World AIDS Day event brought to you by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee. If you are watching and you would like to remember somebody, if you'd like us to mention their name, please post their name on the comments. We will write in one of these hearts, which will be posted on one of the trees. And then the reading of the names, which is at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, Robert Nieto will be taking over for me, and he will be reading the names. So if you want to post the name, we'll make sure to read them for him. One of my favorite people is right here. Hi, Doc. Welcome.
Hey,
How-
well, thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm doing just terrific, especially now that I see you're here
Thank you.
again. We know that the year is on track. 'Cause Daniel and the Cole crew is right
It's right here
here.
at the beach. You know I'm here.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know who this man is, can you tell them who you are, your title?
Well, oh yes, indeed. I'm Dr. Corey Jorgensen. For a long time, I was the medical director at the Laguna Beach Community Clinic and a certified AIDS specialist. So I had a best of both worlds. And working here in town, treating men and women south of the 55 freeway who had AIDS and not much money was a real treat. In large part because of organizations such as Daniel's.
Nice.
And
Thank you.
so thank you all for being here at the beach, celebrating World AIDS Day with us.
So, for those of you that don't know, and I've said it every year, Dr. Jorgensen was my first doctor when I moved to Laguna Beach. So he's the one that took care of me when I moved here. We've shared this story before, but just for the folks that don't know you, what brought you to work into HIV?
Well, I started in private practice in Costa Mesa and also had a small charitable practice here at the Laguna Beach Community Clinic. I'm gay, so a lot of my patients are gay. And as they started getting sick with AIDS, well, that was just sort of my entrance into the profession. They needed care. I cry almost every time I recount this story because I'm still very moved at the bravery of people who got through that period of time, and you're one of them.
Thank you.
So I was grateful to be available and knowledgeable, and it was a privilege to serve.
We've come so far when it comes to medication, which is what helps me stay healthy. We've gotten to the point now where there's injectables, and they're like once a month, once every 2. Did you, when you started, was that something that you ever imagined would happen?
Never in a million years. When I first started seeing AIDS patients, it was an automatic 100% death sentence. You were gonna die of it. But when we started getting medication in the late 90s, AZT was the first one, but when we started getting medication, it became clear then that people could live a long time, and the death rate began to plummet.
We have a couple of questions here. Let me slow those down. HIV test. They're quick now too. When I first got diagnosed in 2000, it was the I forget the name now.
Well, Eliza was
Yes,
one of
yes.
them.
And they would take out send them off for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And now the quickest test is what, 20 minutes?
While you're waiting, 20 minutes. Reliability is better than it was in the old days. And so testing is free in many areas. The Laguna Beach Community Clinic, it's free. The healthcare agency, it's free. AIDS Services Foundation, it's free. So testing is really reliable. It's really easy and it's really quick.
So obviously you've been in medicine for a long, long time. Is there a particular memory from your career that always pops into your head?
You're just trying to make me cry again. Yes, there are images of people who succumbed. And so, yeah, there are lots of images. It was a gruesome disease in the early days, and now it's not. So I urge anyone listening to this broadcast, this podcast, to get tested. It's better to know and take steps to prevent spread than it is to not know and wonder. So I urge you, get tested. It's easy, it's cheap, it's quick, and then you can find out.
And one final message for the folks out there, for anybody out there who is young doctors who are considering going into HIV specialty, what could you tell them?
Well, I think from my own experience, treating people with HIV is extremely rewarding mentally and spiritually. I enjoy it because it provides a way to a normal life and a way to good health for people that are under my care. So that's a real privilege, and I like doing that.
Well, I am so grateful that you are part of the timeline of the folks that took care of me. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll let you enjoy the rest of the evening.
Okay.
Dr. Jorgensen posts one of my favorite posts. My assistant here is dropping me a message. I love it. X-ray George Chamber. Oh yes, please. Hi, Aaron.
Aaron.
Hi. How you doing?
Dad.
They're dropping me off. No, how you doing, Aaron? Nice to meet you, Daniel Garza. Nice to meet you. For everybody watching, this is Our Planet, Our Health, HIV.
You in here on the screen.
It's World AIDS Day 2022, and we've got a couple of people. And you are
This is Joelle.
Joelle. Excellent. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
How you doing? If you don't mind telling them who you are, your title, and what you do.
Yes, I'm with the Laguna Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm the new executive director, CEO at the Chamber of Commerce, and this is Joelle.
And I'm the new marketing and events manager at the Chamber of Commerce.
Nice. So, first of all, what brought y'all? I know what brought you, but why did you choose on a chilly evening on Thursday to come out here?
Sandy.
Okay, I'm gonna tell this joke because I tell this joke all the time. It's the truth. She's already claiming it. I tell people that the reason I say yes to Sandy is because she holds my citizenship papers, and if I say no, she'll send me back, and that's the joke right there. But why did y'all choose to come out here?
Well, obviously to support World AIDS Day and always come and be part of the community, and whatever Sandy tells us to do, we do
And
it.
folks, it's not just me; it's other people.
Yes.
And why did you choose?
Well, it is a beautiful organization to support, and we want to be able to let the community know how important it is to support World AIDS Day.
Now,
So-
not to get all political, but
Yeah.
we did just go through some changes here in Laguna. I've been a Laguna resident for 13 years now, and we're going through some changes. We're getting some new faces, some new energy.
Talking about city council now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I didn't want to go there, but yes. There's always been a big support for the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee. With new faces and with your energy, can we look forward to like some more involvement or some more work in the future? I mean, I know it's putting you in the spot.
Well, the chamber is actually a nonprofit organization. We're not actually part of the city.
oh,
So we are here to advocate for small businesses of the
nice.
city.
Okay.
So as an
nonprofit organization for World AIDS Days. We are here to advocate on behalf of that organization, as well as the clinic here in Laguna Beach. They're one of our chamber members. So that's who we're supporting. We're supporting the clinic and of all the nonprofits that will definitely be supporting World AIDS Day.
And that is huge, because I'll be honest, this is the first time that I get to meet people from the chamber. So at an event like this, and I've been hosting for 5 years now. So for me, that's a big step forward, just to know that you folks are here. Anything to add to that?
No, I'm just happy that we showed up and Sandy told us to come.
Can you see the fear in our eyes? No, just kidding. No, it really is exciting to know that more people know about the event every year and come out, because people don't realize that it does get a little chilly here in December in Laguna Beach. So to have you here and support the project and the event is huge. And not only am I a Laguna Beach resident, but I'm also HIV positive. So as a client of the Laguna Beach Clinic, as a former member of the committee, and as a resident, thank you so much for being here. It's much appreciated. It's cool to see the faces out there. So for folks out there who really don't know, you were just talking about the chamber, that don't know what the chamber does, what do you do, and can people get involved?
Yes, we definitely need more volunteers. We are looking for ambassadors to help represent the chamber. The chamber is, as I mentioned, an advocate for our small businesses and residents here in Laguna Beach. And so we want to not only help our small businesses market themselves to the residents and other businesses and create that synergy within the town, but we also do help the businesses advocate for themselves when it comes to any red tape with the city that they're dealing with. So we have a lot of issues coming up with these temporary use permits that are going to be expiring soon next year. So we would really love some help and advocacy in helping to see what our residents and our businesses wishes and dreams are for the future for those temporary use permit areas. We want to get your feedback.
I'm always holding something.
Yes.
Yes. I love people with signage.
Winter window decorating contest, and so some of our businesses are decorating for the holidays, and you can vote on who you would like to.
Awesome.
I can always send it to you.
Yes, please. We'll connect. And I would love to chat with y'all later about how my production company can help you guys here locally. I mean, I'm here local. Let's work together on something. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for stopping and talking to me. Thank you for being. Yes, and we'll connect again. I'm sure we'll work together.
I hope to see you all at hospitality night tomorrow.
I'll have my camera. So find me and we'll talk. Yes.
Okay.
I'll have some video. Bye. Always great to meet new people and to learn more. So it's always exciting when I see my sister's name on here. So Christian was asking about the testing. Zeke was saying, thank you, Zeke, I appreciate that. And my sister Nancy saying in her heart, that is so awesome. Again, remember, this is our planet, our health, here at Laguna Beach at the Cobblestone Park on Main Beach. It is December 1st, World AIDS Day. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. Please stay tuned for 4 o'clock. We're going to make a small pause at 4, but then we will continue with the reading of the names. So make sure you stick around for that. My co-host, Robert Nieto, will take over the camera, and he will be guiding that. Some people have asked about the red ribbon. Why the red ribbon? Well, according to the website on the UNAIDS site, which is a Switzerland-based agency, the reasons for choosing the color red was its connection to blood and the idea of passion. Not only for anger. Some people thought it was because people got angry and it was red. No, but it was more about love and maybe the connection like to Valentine's and sharing. The project founders called it the Red Ribbon Project. The Red Ribbon Project, they banded together the year and they sent letters and red ribbons to every Tony Award attendee. And that year, the actor Jeremy Irons was the first person that pinned the ribbon on his lapel and was on national TV. So you can go check out unaids.org for more information on that. Remember, go check out worldaidsday.org for more information on today. And as you can see, I have my ribbon here. I know it's small. Okay, I'm gonna tell a true story. I had a bigger ribbon and I moved boxes and it flew and I don't know where it went. So I don't have my big ribbon, but I'm gonna see if we can find somebody else to chat with And we do. Hi, VJ. How you doing, Baba? How's it going? Good to
I'm
see
doing
you.
Good, great to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
So for folks that don't know you, would you mind telling them who you are, your title, and what you do?
I'm BJ Pugh. I was on the advisory committee here in the city for many years, and I served this community as pastor at Neighborhood Community Church. Right now, I'm serving a church in Huntington Beach. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm very eager to be back here tonight to celebrate World AIDS Day and light some candles.
So how long have you been uh, doing?
I've officiated this ceremony since 2008.
Wow, 2008.
Yeah.
14 years now.
Yeah.
Why do you keep coming back?
Oh, this is so important. It's the community here is fantastic, and for me as a pastor, when AIDS came out, the religious communities were not always very supportive, and families were often pitted against one another. And it's important for clergy just to say, God is love. God loves everybody, and this is just what we do. We bring people together. We celebrate the lives that continue even as we mourn those we've lost. And that's such a foundational part of what the religious communities do.
As long as you mentioned it, let's just, can we talk about that just for a second?
Sure.
How has the churches that you're associated with, or how has the energy changed when it comes to, and we're not going to get so far, we're just talking about HIV and AIDS.
Right.
How has the energy changed in that?
It's been slow, and I think it's evolved with culture and society. I'm in a progressive church, the United Church of Christ, and so we've been always on the forefront of we defended slaves on the Amistad, we defended women's suffrage, inclusive. We're an open and affirming denomination, which means we ordain gay and lesbian folks. So it's kind of natural for us. But as a society, anything that's a little different, it scares some people. And it's just been important to me as a minister because there's so many, they find out, oh, my dad was gay the entire time I didn't know.
Right.
My mom is like, that's why she spends so much time with Aunt Cindy, It's important that we're able to just say love is love, and people are hurting where they're hurting, and if the church can't be a place where lives are healed, then what are we doing?
So as an advocate for HIV, I try not to put all the blame and responsibility on organizations. What can, for instance, somebody like me, an HIV advocate, do to help that connection with the church?
I think just be secure. Coming in and saying, we support people with HIV and AIDS. I am so proud of the work that I do. It's God inspired. Whether you think it is or not, it is God inspired. I'll tell you honestly, this is a ministry. It's not just, this is a ministry. And it's important for people like myself to just have folk come in and just be proud of the work you do and say, this is what it's about, whether it's AIDS or whether it's the environment or, fair wages, find something that you're passionate about. And World AIDS Day, let it be about celebrating the end of a disease that we need to end.
And I think that's a couple of things that you said. Like, number one, having been out about my diagnosis very early on,
right?
That now I'm just not, like, you can Google and you can find me and talking,
right?
You can find videos,
right?
But as a Latino community, sometimes it's difficult to break what stigma, shame, silence.
Yes.
What can we do together to break through that?
Well, and then that's helpful for me to be in those communities and say, I stand with my brothers and sisters. And particularly as a man of the cloth, just to affirm that, again, love is love, and support is support, and love your people. Love your people, whoever they are. Love your people.
For anybody out there who is HIV positive or has family members or friends who are holding that barrier between them and God, or religion or spirituality, what can you tell them?
That when you finally meet your God, it's just open arms, and I've always been here, and I know that you've been suffering under an idea of who I am, but that's never been who I am. And God is always there to welcome with open arms. It's the prodigal son comes back, and he expects to be, just treated like a servant, and he just says, kill the fatted calf, put a ring on his finger. My son who was dead is alive. My son who was lost has been found. And that is always, anytime we find our way back to the living, loving, worshipful God, the God that really is, it's glorious. It's just glorious. Don't miss that opportunity. It's love all the way down.
So remind people where you are, where they can find you.
I'm serving a Huntington Beach church right now, Surf City Church up in Huntington Beach. That church is probably, that's the United Methodist Church. That's probably not as accepting as some of every other church. They would love you, but yeah, it's just find a church where they have a rainbow flag, where they say, hey, we love everybody. Just that's what you look for.
The universal symbol for come on in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm so glad and honored to know you, and thank you for being here again. It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
Love you, man.
Thank you. Well, for those of you at 4:00, make sure to stick around at 4:00 because he'll be reading the names. He'll be leading the ceremony to read the names at 4:00. So check him out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Again, for everybody watching, we had another comment here. Let me check that out. It's just blank. Okay. For those of you watching, I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is Our Planet, Our Health, the World AIDS Day event led by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee here at the Cobblestone Park on Main Beach in Laguna Beach. It is getting chilly, so I will be here for another 20 minutes, and then my co-host, Robert Nieto, will take over. He will be leading the camera to make sure that you hear in as we read the names. If you are watching and you would like us to read the name of somebody, please post them in the comments, whatever channel you're reading on, and we will write them on one of these pink hearts that will go in one of these trees that are behind me. And then we will make sure that those get read at the end of the night with the other names. And then they will be added to the trees. We, for those of you that know Laguna Beach, every year before World AIDS Day, we walk around and post ribbons, red ribbons with names on the trees so that you can walk around and see names. So your names, the names of the people that you submit, will be added to those names for next year. There you go. So yeah, so we will remember them. So it is about 20 to 4. We have about 20 more minutes. I'm going to see if somebody else wants to come and join me and chat and share. But for those of you that don't know my story or are just new to this channel, I was diagnosed September of 2000. September of 2000. This was my 22nd anniversary. My family was instrumental in my care. They were the ones that helped me get back on my feet. I'd gone down to 110 pounds. I was very skinny, almost dying, and they helped me feel back. So my sister, who is actually watching, and my sister Nancy, who's watching, I love you. You're part of my timeline and why I'm here today. So I appreciate that. My partner, Christian Ramirez, who's also watching, who is also part of my timeline. My timeline doesn't just have HIV. It has HIV, it has cancer, it has ostomy, it has mental health. So those are things that affect people with HIV. Most people think it's just HIV, the medications, you'll be fine. But there are secondary diagnoses that pop up. In my case, cancer, diabetes, cholesterol, mental health, depression, are all part of it. And having gone through the lockdown of COVID just increased some of those diagnoses things, particularly anxiety and mental health. So if you're somebody out there who is dealing with mental health problems and is HIV, you're not alone. I know that doesn't help a whole lot, but you're not alone. And if you need to reach out to us, please. Let me take a sip of water for y'all. Pardon me? I'm going to see if I can get my, who's going to be my co-host, and he will take over at 4 o'clock for the reading names. Again, if you're watching, even if you're watching this on replay, and you would like us to add somebody's name for next year, send me their names If you do it tonight, we will put it on one of these hearts, and it will go on one of these trees back here. We'll post the name on the tree, and then it will be included in the reading the names tonight, and then it will be added to the ribbons project that we do every year. So make sure you include that. Hi, folks. Welcome. Um, how you doing? Welcome. So um, I'm going to see who else is available to come and chat with us before we go. Again, remember at 4 o'clock. We're gonna go. We're gonna shut down for just a minute while we change cameras. Don't turn off. Don't turn it off. Stick around because Terrell will be singing. He sings every year. Um, BJ will be officiating the ceremony tonight for the reading of the names, and I believe the last count was about 250 names, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. So we're gonna see if that. I'm gonna see who else. Um, I'm gonna get Sandy over here. See if she wants to come and talk for a minute. If you see her, Sandy is right there in the red. She is the lady we were laughing about a minute ago. We were joking about her. If you missed the joke, I tell people that she owns me. And that's why anytime she calls on me, I say yes. But she is actually one of the most influential people in Laguna Beach. She's a mover and a shaker. And to know her is such an honor and a privilege. She ran away. She's gone. Um, I'm going to see what else information I give you before we go. It is Laguna Beach. We're on Cobblestone Park on Main Beach. It is World AIDS Day. Uh, so to tell you a little bit more about my story, this is the 22nd year that I celebrate World AIDS Day as a person living with HIV. When I was diagnosed originally with AIDS. And again, because of doctors, medication, treatment, support groups, friends, making peace with my spirituality, with God, with the universe, is that I'm here. It is really, truly a blessing. And I'm grateful for everything that's happened in my life. I took my diagnosis and made a career of it. And I am honored and privileged to be able to do what I can do. Not everybody has that privilege, and it's hard. So anybody out there that has having a hard time with HIV and AIDS, know that you're not alone. That we can work together. I'm gonna see if Robert, do you want to come over? Are you available? So I'm gonna introduce you to Robert Nieto. How
Hey
you
guys,
doing?
how are you?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
This year I'll have a co-host taking over
Yes.
the second part.
Yes.
And your mom was just talking to us. Andrea, yeah.
Adriana, yes,
Adriana,
yes,
my name
yes.
is Andrea. Adriana.
Adriana, yeah.
Um, although your mom works for Laguna Beach Community Clinic,
Yes.
why are you here? Why are you getting involved?
Well, for one thing, I also work there as well, actually. So I'm usually at the front desk, checking in, checking out, making sure people have insurance or they're part of the state program that helps them pay for their visits. So I have the pleasure of doing that. But also, I'm also an aspiring medical student, and I'm really trying to just go out there and really learn more specifically. And specifically, HIV was something that I've been exposed with since I was young, going to the AIDS walks and all those when I was about 5, 6 years old with my mom and helping her out. So it's always been an interest of mine, and it's always been something that I've just been a part of.
That's really interesting. So having started so young,
Yes.
at what point or what age do you remember knowing what HIV was?
First hearing about it, probably 5 or 6, understanding what it is, understanding that there's treatment, understanding that it's not a death sentence anymore, probably around 11 or 12. But just having just a basic notion of it, probably 6, 7 years old.
And if you remember, I mean, obviously he's young. He doesn't think that far behind.
Yeah.
If you can remember, what was your thoughts? What was your knowledge?
Well, at least, very innocently, people didn't have this, there was no like physical change or anything like that with the person who had HIV. And that's if a person, takes their medications, is always constant with that and takes care of themselves, the right diet and everything. So I never thought of it as much of an extreme as I know many people who suffered with it in the 80s and the 90s, and many people that died with it. Of course, that was very scary moment in many people's lives, especially during the 80s and 90s. So I never had that exposure, and I only read about that through history and through literature of AIDS research. But I mean, I have personal heroes of mine who also had HIV. You know, like Magic Johnson being one of the best examples. Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
You gotta love Queen. So I think, you know, I never had that like scary notion, but I just gotta respect all the amount of work that the doctors, researchers have done to really make AIDS what it is. Excuse me, HIV and AIDS not be a death sentence today. So I think it's really remarkable.
Just to put it in context, Rachel, can I ask you what year is when you were 11 years old?
I was born in 1997, so I was about 2007, 2008 when I started really doing a lot more volunteer work and going to the AIDS walk. I think, though, my earliest recollection, I only know this through photos, though, was going to the 2004 AIDS walk, I believe.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Let me put this in context, though, because you said you were born 1988,
1997.
97,
Yeah.
and I was diagnosed in 2000.
No way.
So
okay.
you were 3 years.
I was 3 years old.
Okay, that just made me feel really, really old.
Yeah.
But you were 3 years old when
Yes.
I was diagnosed.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, I'm so glad to know you, and it's such an honor to know you. But in context, the vision that we each have
Yes.
of HIV and AIDS, because I knew HIV and AIDS from the 80s and how that came to be. But by the time that you are aware of it, so much has changed.
So much has changed for the better, and now
Wow.
people are not dying from it, which is important. People are having a normal life. It's not disrupting anyone else's life. So, and you know, you can have partners without that fear of transitioning into someone else. So, yeah, completely different, because you know I'm pretty sure it was very scary for you, especially because you've had that 80s and 90s notion of it. Well, I never had that.
Which I'm so glad that I did call you over, because it just shows why the change of mentalities between my generation and your generation.
Exactly.
The fear, the trauma, the triggers.
It lingers from that generation, but then this generation never had that. So
now let me ask you: Do young people your age, do y'all talk about HIV? Is there a conversation to be had?
With my friends, most of them are within or interested in medicine, so it is a topic of discussion. And you know, we are still especially more of my researcher friends, we really are still trying to find, or they're really interested in trying to find at least some type of a cure, an actual cure, instead of, you know, bettering the treatment, which already treatment itself is already fantastic. There's no longer a cocktail of pills, at least.
People are getting shots now. So
exactly. Shots as well, once every 3 months, I believe. So that's remarkable. But I mean, wouldn't it be remarkable to completely get rid of it too?
Let's go have dinner with your friends so we can talk to them about it. But my last question. Since you're a young medical person. For anybody out there who is thinking about going into medicine and is interested in what HIV is and what can you tell them?
Well, I think for me, what helped is basically trying to go back as far as you can, specifically if you're really interested in HIV, with the history of HIV and basically the epidemiology of HIV. If you really want to get into it, try to find out like where it originated, see the trajectory, the path. And then from there on, just learning about the research of how these doctors and how these researchers basically were able to not only track it, find an origin, genetic origin, the sequencing, all that, and then be able to find ways to treat it. I think that's really, and it's a lot of research, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of sources out there, not necessarily meant for medical students, but meant for everyone, for the general public, to learn about that and really envelop themselves in that information, and go from basically the 90s, late 80s, early 90s until now, learn about the treatments as well, and everything that there is in terms of treatment for HIV and AIDS. So,
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
you for helping out. He will be taking over the camera at 4 o'clock when we start.
4 o'clock,
So comments and questions, and if everything goes wrong, you can blame it on him. So just I'll be driving. But I sure appreciate you, man. Thank you much. So we'll see you a little later.
Yeah, we'll see you.
So we've got about 6 more minutes before we conclude the show. And I can smell, there's a smell in the air. For everybody watching, again, my name is Daniel G. Garza. This is Our Planet, Our Health, brought to you by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee, World AIDS Day. December 1st, 2022. I'm about to change cameras, and he is going to, Robert is going to take over. So he will be taking over the camera. We will leave you to hear the names. Again, BJ will be announcing, will be leading the ceremony. Some of the volunteers will be reading the names. If you'd like for us to add a name to the tree, see where the folks are over there? They are putting names on the trees. Let us know. We'll put them on these hearts and put them on there. And then we will read the name at the end. There's a list of about 250 names, and we will add your name to that list. And then next year for the tree ribbon project that we do in Laguna Beach, where we go around town and put ribbons on the trees, we will include that name so we can remember them for next year. So please send your names. If you'd like to send them privately for next year, please do so, and I will include them, make sure that they get them. If you have any more questions or comments, I will be happy to look at them once I arrive where I am. Again, this is Our Planet, Our Health, World AIDS Day, brought to you by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee here in Laguna Beach. I want to thank Dr. Jorgensen. I want to thank Adriana. I want to thank BJ, the ladies from the Chamber of Commerce, all for sharing with us and talking to us. Nurse Nicole for coming over. So I'm going to signal over to Robert to get his camera, start getting his camera ready.
Yes.
And he's going to start getting ready. So you might, there will be some changes here. But as far as I'm concerned, on a personal note, I want to thank all of you for watching. Thank you for being, if you're watching this, you're already part of my timeline. And as such, I am grateful for you to being here. It's World AIDS Day, not just a day to mourn and think about all the people that have passed, but it's also a day to celebrate all the people that are still here. And I'm very grateful and I'm very blessed to continue to be alive. And for all of you who I know personally that are watching, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much for being, again, for being part of my timeline. It is such, it's such a pleasure. Last thing I'll say, I'm going to wait for him to jump in and then we will include him. Again, we're going to go off for, we're not going to end the broadcast. So please don't leave. We're just going to pause for a second while we do camera changes. And then once we do, we will, I'm watching him over there. I have my director producer hat on. And if I look nervous, it's only because of that. But I'm going to turn the camera around just for a minute so you folks can see Laguna Beach behind me. This is, look how beautiful that looks. While we make some changes. There we go. He's right there. So I'm going to put him in. Actually, folks, I'm going to say goodbye for now. We're going to go blank for just a minute. Please don't go. Please don't go anywhere. Leave it on because the reading of the names will start in a couple of minutes. But I'm going to put the banner up and then we will come back to you guys shortly. Again, I'm Daniel G. Garza, World AIDS Day, brought to you by the Laguna Beach HIV Advisory Committee. Okay. So we won't need the microphone because it won't, it's just pointless. Yeah. But here's my suggestion. We can actually.
Let me try to center it a bit. Oh.
There you go.
Then I'll have the camera ready to go.
I'm gonna put it this way.
Okay. Do I need to move it or okay? And then, do you want me to take this out?
Take it back to the clinic. I'll come and grab it.
Okay.
So I'm going. You can move this around wherever you want.
Yeah.
Just as long as you get BJ and the trees.
Yeah.
Let me get BJ.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave Robert's screen. Okay. But
So you want me? Yeah. Yep. So might as well get everybody set up. And this has doesn't this have a thing where it says the balance? I wonder where that is. Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah, it's right there. Oh, it shows down balance right now.
It's out of bounds. So am I. So let's move this over.
Do you want me? Do I need to move the camera at all, or probably not? It's just gonna be on BJ.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect.
The best thing that you can do is just move it back so that we don't cut his head off.
Yeah, once we'll be. Last minute preparation.
Ah.
Okay, now these.
Why are we?
There you go. Fantastic.
Okay, so we can get. I think that's tall enough for BJ.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be.
Yeah. So
Right now, we will be beginning.
Welcome, everyone.
Okay.
Our World AIDS Day celebration of life. I was asked earlier how long I've been doing this. I've been doing this since 2000. I guess 2009 was my first, because I got here in 2008. And it has been such an honor to memorialize those that we have deeply, deeply loved, that we wish were with us and aren't. And just every time we're here in Main Beach for this, it's perfect, because if you look at the sky, you've got the dark clouds, and it just kind of represents the heaviness of the loss of those that we love so deeply. But you got the birds flying in front, and above that, there's the lights coming through, and there's blue sky, and there's a promise of a better future. And I was so excited today when I heard the meeting between President Biden and President Macron from France, and they made a commitment to wipe out AIDS by 2030. Wow. So that was announced, and that they announced that in a press conference between these two leaders at a time with the war in Ukraine and everything else going on. I thought was pretty significant for an understanding of the importance of this day.
Absolutely.
And the importance of this, for me, in ministry, but just the celebration of life. And so I want to just start by just breathing in the hopefulness of a future and a vision without people dying of HIV/AIDS. And as you exhale, just exhale all of the fears and all of the things that are just keeping you from just positively embracing a life of just love and remembrance of those who've gone before. So if we can just take a second to breathe. This is a non-sectarian service, so I will try to be as inclusive in this as possible. But to whatever sense of the holy that you believe in, that you worship or reverence, if it's just life itself, just invite that into the circle. May that presence gather us together, and may we put those that we love inside this holy circle, so that they are here with us. I know we've lost some people recently who would be here, and just invite them in. And we're going to do some names. And I'm going to get out my chimes. And as the names were read, may the sound of this element resonate in our spirits and in our hearts.
Tom H.
Augusta E.
Peter J.
Joe T. Elliot S.
Nick. Tom K.
Albert C.
Peter K.
John B. Eliseo H.
Tom P.
Alexandra B.
Peter M.
John C. Eloy G.
Tom Q.
Albas A.
Peter D.
John H. Eric O.
Tom W.
Andrew C.
R. P.
John M. Eric P.
Tom. Sorry. Victor A.
Anthony B.
Ralph K.
John P.
Eric W.
Victor B.
Arnold C.
Ralph M.
John S.
Eugene C.
Victor O.
Art C.
Randall C.
John T.
Federico R.
Randy S.
John U.
Vince C.
Bianca M.
Ray N.
Joseph B.
Fleming B.
Walter H.
Bill C.
Raymond C.
Joseph L.
Floyd F.
Walter P.
Bill M.
Ray
Joseph M.
Frank N.
Wayne Scott B.
Bob H.
Richard B.
Juan L.
Frank R.
Wesley B.
Brett C.
Richard L.
Julius O.
Fred W.
William A.
Brett E.
Richard Y.
Keith S.
Gary B.
William H.
Brian A.
Ricky D.
Kent S.
Gary D.
William N.
Brian E.
Richie W.
Kent H.
Gary E.
William S.
Brian N.
Robert B.
Kevin K.
Gary P.
William T.
Bruce G.
Robert C.
Larry B.
Gary Y.
Suhair A.
Bruce W.
Robert D.
Larry F.
George F.
Robert C.
Lee D.
George P.
Lee H. Calvin J.
Robert K.
Lee U.
Jared F.
Candy R.
Robert S.
Lewis R.
Gordon W.
Charles M.
Robert U.
Lauren E.
Graham H.
Charles O.
Robo D.
Mark P.
Greg B.
Christopher E.
Roger B.
Mark L.
Greg C.
Christopher M.
Roger O.
Mark G.
Greg D.
Chuck P.
Roland L.
Mark L.
Gregory M.
Clifford R.
Ron B.
Mark M.
B and F.
Courtney J.
Ron E.
Mark T.
Ignacio G.
Data E.
Ron K.
Mark L.
Jamal B.
Aaron K.
Ronald C.
Matthew T.
James F.
David G.
Ronald L.
Michael C.
James H.
David N.
Russell P.
Michael D.
James S.
David T.
Sam F.
Michael F.
J N.
D. S.
Scotty G.
Michael G.
J S.
Denise L.
Sergio H.
Michael J.
Jeanette T.
Dennis C.
Shirley W.
Michael O.
Jeff Q.
Dennis L.
Silva G.
Michael P.
Jeffrey D.
Dolores E.
Stan F.
Michael S.
Jeremy M.
Dominic M.
Stanley K.
Miguel C.
Jeremiah F.
Donald H.
Stephen E.
Mitch S.
Jerry A.
Donald S.
Stephen F.
Mitchell S.
Jerry D.
Don E.
Stephen C.
Morton F.
Jerry G.
Douglas C.
Stephen M.
Nadine C.
Jess C.
Drew B.
Sid S.
Norm M.
Jess L.
Drew R.
TRW.
Norman V.
Jesus G.
Edcardo G.
Tom B.
Paula A.
Jesus M.
Edward A.
Tom C.
Paul R. Jim C. Edward B.
Tom E.
Peggy B. Jim O. Jim G. Jim M. And George P. So I'd like to open it up, and if there are people that we have lost to HIV AIDS, if we could lift them up now in our hearts and with our voices. Lee C. John L.
H. Howdy B.
Stephen H.
Michael R.
Paul D.
Mary A. Nancy R. Timothy S. Bernie M.
Leon C.
Kevin R.
Baruch B.
Dolores R. Julian R.
Gary Y. And
Stephanie.
even as we remember those that we have loved and we have lost, we're surrounded by the realities of life, whether it's the road from PCH behind us, or just all of the things in our life that would pull us away, particularly this season when we remember the coming of the light of the world into the world. Every time you see a light this season, just think of someone that you wish to remember and hold them up and then offer them as an offering to God and say, into your hands we're so thankful that you surround them with love and light. And let's be part of that remembrance and part of that light. Are you singing
Yes.
today? Yes.
I think the next step would be to have the presence of Terrell. Thank you, BJ. That was a lovely ceremony. And at this point, we would love to hear the voice of Terrell singing.
I'm gonna get the lyrics up.
After the lyrics up. I would like for people when I sing a verse, we'll come into the Hallelujah chorus. So if anyone wants to join me saying Hallelujah, Hallelujah, please do. It'd be great to do it in unison. All right? Hallelujah. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, a minor fall and a major lift, and the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof of beauty, and the moonlight overthrew you. Well, she tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne, and she cut your hair. And from your lips She grew the hallelujah. 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 They say I took the name in vain. I don't even know the name. And if I did, oh really, what's it to ya? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter what you heard. The holy of the broken. Hallelujah. 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 I did my best, and it wasn't much. I could not feel, so I had to touch. I told the truth, I didn't come to fool ya. And even though it all went wrong, I stand before the Lord of song, and nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Go with God. Thank you, BJ.
Thank you, BJ. On behalf of the city's HIV committee, I want to thank everyone present. Your presence made today memorable. Thank you, BJ. Thank you all for attending. I hope to extend the invitation for next year, so please join us on December 1st for next year. And once again, thank you. Safe travels for those for the holidays, and thank you for spending this afternoon with us.
Before you leave, may I take a moment? Michelle, will you join me?
Sure.
I'll even let you leave this. Last weekend, or about 10 days ago, we had a big event for the city of Laguna Beach. City of Laguna Beach is now a kindness city. We have joined the World Kindness Movement that's all over the world, and we were the first here in California to do this. And we gave out some kindness awards, and we have 2 people here that were not present. So we would like to do this now. Would you do the honors?
Sure.
By the power invested in us by the city of Laguna Beach, for real, we are presenting this, and it's signed by the mayor and everybody important. Not that we are, but people who signed it.
We were on the committee.
Yes, we're the committee.
On this first day of December 2022, the City of Laguna Beach formally acknowledges the kind actions of Terrell Washington Anansi for being one of the most attentive listeners in town, which makes him a revered mentor to many. Terrell is a spiritual leader as well, whose life mission includes kindness, compassion, and empathy. As such, our kindness ambassadors have resolved to award Terrell Washington Anansi with the city's inaugural 2022 Courage to Be Kind Award.
Bob, can you come here and take that photo, please? Because we have to turn it in.
Can you guys turn around for the, we're still live streaming.
Come here, please. Bob.
We're still live streaming, Sandy, so
Sandy,
turn around.
turn around
still
because we're live streaming.
streaming.
right now.
Everybody's listening to you. This is terrific. We have people as far as Texas, and it's international as well.
And it's
What, this way? Okay.
Yes.
Open it up.
City of
You see it? Here we go. How's that?
We're so grateful to our city for supporting this effort.
And I have one more. The city of Laguna Beach on this December 1st day. We would like to honor George Heath, who does a lot of good things for a lot of people, a lot of organizations. And I especially appreciate what he does. We appreciate what he does for the clinic and for all of them. So George quite simply gets things done, always for a higher good. He's a brilliant businessman. He does everything for everybody. He gives his whole heart all the time. George dedicates much of his time to serving the Laguna Beach HIV and AIDS Advisory Committee. And he also did this one big thing that we were so in tears about. George offered, after being asked, and without any thought, he offered to mentor a student. And we thank him for the kid is 9 years old and he's taking him under his wing, and I cry every time I say this. But thank you, George, and please come So this is from the city of Laguna Beach and Rural Kindness Day that we adopted. Yes. Smile, George. Hey, George. And
Very
thank
nice.
you for allowing us to do this.
Very sweet. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This officially concludes World AIDS Day. Have a great day and I hope you guys enjoyed the service. Thank you so much.